I'd like to share with you on this week's Parshas, וישב, something very nice from the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Yitzchok. The Parsha starts off, וישב Yaakov, and Yaakov settled בארץ in the land מגורי אביו, in the land where his father Yitzchok lived, בארץ כנען, in the land of Canaan. All המפרשים ask, what's the double repetitious word בארץ in the Posuk? It could have said וישב Yaakov, Yaakov dwelled, and he settled בארץ כנען, in the land of Canaan, מגורי אביו, the place where his father lived. But it doesn't say that. First it says בארץ מגורי אביו, in the land where his father lived, not saying Canaan, just saying Eretz, and then spells out clearly בארץ Canaan. So if you look good, the first בארץ is referring to מגורי אביו Yitzchok. The second is referring to Yaakov, in the land of Canaan. That's where he settled and dwelled. Points out Rabbi Yitzchok something phenomenal. If you look in the entire Tanakh, every time the Posuk says the word, the land of Eretz Yisrael, when it speaks about, when Hashem is talking to Yitzchok, it only says Ba'oretz. An example, and Parshas told us, in Perek Chavov, it says, Hashem tells Yitzchok, don't go down to Mitzrayim, Gur, I want you to dwell and live Ba'oretz Hazois. Doesn't say Ba'eretz Canaan. Shchoin Ba'oretz, I want you to dwell over here, live over here. Doesn't say Ba'eretz Canaan. On the other hand, by Yaakov, like in this Posuk, it says Ba'eretz Canaan, he lived in Eretz Canaan. Also, it says by Avraham Yaakov, we have the famous Posuk, we say in the Haggadah, Hashem says, V'oilech oisoi, it says in Yeshua, Perek Chavdalet, V'oilech oisoi b'chol Eretz Canaan. I'm going to take Avraham Avinu, I'm going to bring him to the Eretz Canaan. So we see an interesting thing. By Yaakov and by Avraham, it mentions Canaan. By Yitzchok, only Ba'aretz. Connects this, Rabbi Yitzchok, with another interesting diuk, an emphasis which we find, which he connects the two ideas together. And that is, Avraham and Yaakov had wives, but also they had maid wives. They had shfachas. Avraham married Hagar. Yaakov married Bila and Zilpah. On the other hand, Yitzchok only married Rivka, and he didn't have in his life any shifcha. He only had a isha, a wife, Rivka. So explains Rabbi Yitzchok these concepts together like this. A marriage of a husband and a wife is also similar, as we spoke many times, with the concept of Jewish people marrying Eretz Yisrael. In a nutshell, it means Hashem wanted us to make what's called a dira betachtonim, a dwelling place for Hashem in the world. There's two types of services. There's a service which is connected more Torah mitzvahs directly, even though we're involved in the world. And then there's also, for example, our relationship in the world, which we elevate also those areas which are outside of the realm of Kedusha, and we bring it in and elevate it for a godly purpose. And that's similar between the wife, you have a isha or a shifcha. A shifcha symbolizes other nations in the world. Your isha symbolizes you yourself. Or isha symbolizes your work which you do in Torah mitzvahs. And a shifcha symbolizes something that's outside, and they're going to elevate it and bring it in. And here you see also the difference in the type of their life between Avraham and Yaakov and Yitzchok. Yitzchok never left Eretz Yisrael. He was called the Oila Tamima. He was brought up as a sacrifice. He was holy to Hashem. Avraham Avinu, on the other hand, reached out to the other nations. Yaakov left Israel in Choran, and over there, outside of Israel, in Lebanon, by his father Lavan, he brought up all the 12 Shvatim. So in the type of service that they had, Avraham and Yaakov reached out into the world. Yitzchok was more an introvert, and he was more an Eretz Yisrael, and he never left to work with the outside world as much. And this is also the similar what the Torah wanted to emphasize. There is the work of Eretz, and there's Eretz Canaan. When it comes to Yitzchok, who didn't marry a shifcha, he only married a isha. For him, it only says Eretz. The higher level of type of work we have in the world. On the other hand, Avraham and Yaakov, who married also Shifcha, by them, the Torah writes also Eretz Canaan. Canaan is also a name of the outside of the world, not Yisrael, elevating the outer sparks into the realm of Kedusha. And then you see how it's unbelievable how every word in Torah the Rebbe's father picks up, that by Avraham and Yaakov it says Canaan, but by Yitzchok it only says Eretz.